Time now for our Life and Info segment, where we focus on information that should be useful for your everyday life, especially if you're in Korea today. That's because we're going to focus on how women who have migrated to South Korea can receive support in their native languages, especially in emergency situations. And this has been a red-hot topic after video of a Korean man abusing his Vietnamese wife went viral online and caused a lot of controversy with it. I'm pleased to say we have our Oh Soo-young in the studio, and she's been covering this very important issue all week for us here on Arirang News. Your reports have been fantastic, Soo-young. So if a foreign woman in Korea is facing abuse or violence at home, it may be difficult for them to call the authorities, the police, right away, especially if they aren't that fluent in Korean. Can you just walk us through the first steps that if a woman finds herself in this situation, they should try and follow?
Well, the first thing she could do is phone the Danuri Helpline. That's 1577-1336 for migrant women in Korea. It's a 24-hour hotline. It's open all around the year. It's for migrant women, and it offers help in 13 different languages, including English, Mandarin, Vietnamese, Thai, and Russian. And the call center will help you take the case to the police with an interpreter and even connect you to an emergency shelter if you find yourself in a particularly dire situation. So if you are a foreign woman in Korea and you've been abused, violated or threatened in any way, and not just by your partner, please phone the police or Danuri Helpline if you're not fluent in Korean. Again, the number is 1577-1336.
Yes, and if you suspect someone you know might be subject to domestic violence at home as well, perhaps you could either urge them to call that number or call that number on behalf of that person. Now, we must stress that it takes a lot of courage for a woman who might be in a very controlling relationship, someone who's violent towards her, to report to the authorities what's going on, even if you're in your home country. And if you throw into the mix that you're in a foreign country, perhaps you don't speak the language that well, and you don't have that much of a social circle, really, to rely on.
Right, you're definitely right. It's so hard to walk away from an abusive relationship. And actually in Korea there are about 28 emergency shelters and facilities nationwide that take in these migrant women as well as their children, and they offer protection for these women and their kids. They offer protection and support for up to 2 years depending on their circumstances. And in order to help them recover both physically and emotionally, therapy, counselling and medical care is available at these shelters and also through local organisations. To help women start rebuilding their lives, local organisations, they offer interpretation, information about job opportunities, job training, as well as legal advice.
We aim to help migrant women settle in Korea and learn about their human rights. We do this by providing information about Korea, legal information, and so on. We hope they will also help other migrant women.
Okay, that's a fantastic service that we have here in Korea. Hopefully they can add more support centres throughout the years. There's 28 now, but hopefully we can get to more in the future. So the main point really is to not only help these women through an extremely difficult situation at home, but also helping them integrate more into Korean society so they can make friends, have this support group around them as well.
Yes, that's exactly right. The aim really is to help them integrate into Korean society, and that goes for all migrant women, not just victims of domestic violence.
Right.
So for those who would like to be more socially active, learn Korean and even develop friendships, you can join communities like Tamil, which is run by a Mongolian woman who was actually Korea's first ever politician of foreign descent.
It's crucial for migrant women to leave their homes, socialize, and find sources of income. We get together to learn the Korean language together, organize cultural activities to share our diverse cultures with Koreans, and these days we're focusing on diverse job opportunities.
And local governments like these are working with local communities, and they're trying to help women develop quality skill sets for quality jobs instead of, menial labor.
While most migrant women in Korea tend to take on a simple work like cleaning or working at restaurants, Seongnam City is offering training in medical tourism so they can turn their native language skills into a specialized profession in interpretation. We think their language skills and the city's growing industries can create a great synergy effect.
We're learning about the medical tourism industry and special terminologies, then we'll start practical training. It's a great career opportunity to help people from our countries who visit Korea for medical treatment.
Okay, very good. So perhaps setting them on the path to a really good career, because that's another factor that leads women to stay in these abusive relationships, the fact they don't have financial freedom to break away from it. So if they can learn these skills, perhaps they can have a fresh start at life, which we hope they all can have. Just before we go, just give us another reminder of how we can connect to this hotline, or if you need any legal advice or whatnot.
Right, well, once again, if you need general information about life in Korea or legal advice, or you're going through domestic violence, then call Danuri Helpline at 1577-1366. That's 1577-1366.
Well, thank you very much for your report today, Soo-young, and your series of reports all the way through the week. Very important information. We appreciate it.
Right, thank you for having me.